Let me clear something up right off the bat. Yes, the title is clickbait. I did not go to all of the best bars in London. I know, I'm sorry. But that would be impossible. London is unarguably one of the greatest cocktail cities on the planet. It would take me literal years to go to all of the good bars in this city. But I tried. I fought as hard as I could, and I did my best. I am beaten, broke, and broken. But I lived to tell the tale. And that tale starts at Viajante. It's kind of fitting that my London cocktail journey begins at a bar that directly translates to traveler. Viajante takes its inspiration from the bar team's travels through Latin America, using flavors from Peru, Argentina, Brazil, and beyond. Tropical, but not tiki, super interesting flavors executed amazingly. The vibe is super chilled and laid back early in the evening, but gets a little higher octane as the night goes on with a DJ later at night. Viajante does an incredible job of reminding me that I really need to get to Latin America as soon as possible. Amaro Bar feels like a hybrid of a number of amazing different bars. It's got the friendly, laid-back unpretentiousness of a classic neighborhood spot, the vibe of a trendy Italian bistro, and the cocktails and service of a world-class hotel bar, all rolled up into one. They have a very large focus on Amaro, hence the name, but there's so much more than just bitters. Definitely leaning heavily into classic variations, but with utmost precision to create an amazing cocktail experience that is definitely worth putting on your list. The basement of a Georgian dumpling restaurant is the last place I'd expect to find a high-end industrial cocktail bar, but here we are. Bar Kinky is a very minimalist, very orange, very delicious cocktail bar that has nothing to do with Georgian soup dumplings. The thing about a minimalist bar like Bar Kinky is you only have two things to focus on: your drink and your interactions with the staff and other patrons. If one of those two things is off, then the whole experience is soured. But luckily, they do an excellent job not only making amazing drinks, but being incredibly friendly hosts as well. The only thing that could have made this better, I should have ordered some of those damn soup dumplings. Dram is packed to the brim with everything you could ever want if you're into whiskey and cocktails. An outdoor terrace, a rentable pool room with vending machine cocktails, a whiskey shop, and two separate bars. Whiskey bar and cocktails on tap on the main floor, and a more avant-garde cocktail forward bar in the basement. This is the type of place I would absolutely dream of working at. An amusement park of fun tools to play with and experiment. Their cocktail lab rivals any I've ever seen, and they use it so well, making drinks that stand up to just about any bar in the business. If this were just a whiskey bar, it would be one of the best bars around. But add on the incredible cocktail program and you have a bar that rivals some of the best in the world. If there's one thing London does better than anywhere on earth, it's hotel bars. The pinnacle of luxury, class, and incredible drinking, London cocktail bars are not only some of the best, but the most historic as well. Think of any classic cocktail and there is a very good chance that it originated in one of London's hotel bars. They were setting the trends in the early 1900s and they never stopped, continuing into the 90s and beyond with people like Salvatore Calabrese, the godfather of the early 90s London cocktail revolution. He's basically the Wolfgang Puck of cocktails, setting the trends long before social media became a thing, becoming sort of a pseudo-celebrity in the process. He's had a number of amazing bars in London, and Donovan Bar might just be his best. And I'm only saying that because this is the only one of his bars that I've ever been to, but that's besides the point. If Salvatore Calabrese's name is on the sign, it's going to be a good bar, guaranteed. If you're a longtime viewer of this channel, then you'll have figured out by now that this is not a review channel. I don't do reviews. My videos are more of a guide or a showcase. I don't want to tell you where not to go. That seems pointless to me. I know how difficult this industry is and how hard people work, so I absolutely refuse to speak poorly about a bar just because I didn't personally enjoy it. If I don't have anything nice to say, I don't put the bar in the video. Now, having said that, Duke's makes the single best $30 glass of frozen gin that I have ever had. Look, this is not a bar for everyone. It is extremely expensive, the menu is limited, and it's very hard to get into. But it's a part of history. It's the James Bond bar, home of the shaken not stirred martini, which is a crock of shit, but that's a rant for another day. If you're into James Bond and want to take in a part of history, this one is a can't miss. Now, if you want an expensive cocktail made by a well-dressed Italian that is worth the money, then you should go to the Connaught Bar. One of the most legendary bars of all time. It's been near the top of the 50 best list for 15 years straight, with its worst ranking being a measly 13th best in the world. An absolute masterclass in service, cocktail, decor, vibes, you name it. Not only do they do incredible, impeccably made classics, but they also have a very interesting menu of delicious, inventive, original drinks that you wouldn't be surprised to find at any of the hyper-tech forward new age bars. I find that the best hotel bars are the ones that subvert expectations. You expect a super posh hotel bar like this one to be overly stuffy and kind of boring, but the Connaught Bar is anything but. Scarf's Bar is a bit more of a modern rendition of a classic hotel bar, but equally as luxurious and delicious. Inspired by a British satirical cartoonist named Gerald Scarfs, you can see his caricatures scattered everywhere around the bar. The cocktails have essentially nothing to do with the artist, but they don't need to be. They are incredible all on their own. Scarfs is a modern hotel bar that makes a fantastic addition to the London hotel bar scene. Speaking of modern hotel bars, Lyaness is without a doubt the queen of London's modern hotel bars. The Lion Empire is one of the great cocktail groups of this era, having a massive number of bars that have changed the game and started so many of the trends we use today. White Lion, Super Lion, Dandelion, Silver Lion, all amazing bars under the Mr. Lion Empire, and Lyaness is no different. You'd expect a high-traffic lobby bar to cater to the vodka soda and light beer normies, and sure, they do a lot of those, but they still keep their original cocktail menu super innovative and forward-thinking for nerds like me. They do try to cater to everyone, as a true lobby bar should, but they do so without giving up the core values of what makes a Lyaness bar great. In my opinion, there is no bar more iconic than the American Bar at the Savoy. It is an institution and an absolute must visit when in London, along with its not as good, but still incredible sister bar, the Beaufort. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in this time. They said it was because they were fully booked, but I think it's because I look like a homeless person. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that one though. Luckily, I've already been before, so I know from first-hand experience that you absolutely must go to the American Bar. Now, if there is one singular bar on the planet that had the most formative impact on my bartending style, it is the Artesian. I first visited back in 2014 and was absolutely blown away by everything I saw there. It did exactly what the Connaught Bar does, which is to subvert your expectations, but on a whole other level. Impeccably friendly and fun service in an extremely posh hotel bar, serving cocktails that were above and beyond anything I had ever seen before. Cocktails with inflatable panda heads as garnish, cocktails served on a mirror so you can stare at yourself and be vain while you drink. The things they came up with were so funny and interesting and way outside the box. It opened my eyes to a way of thinking about drinks that no other place has. The bartenders who made it #1 in the world for 4 years straight have long since moved on to open Sips in Barcelona and Tayer Elementary in London. Is it the same as it once was? Unfortunately, no. Those are impossibly large shoes to fill. But this is still a fantastic hotel bar with a very interesting cocktail menu that is well worth a visit. One of the big trends of recent years has been the Japanese listening bar, a cozy place to relax with a good drink and enjoy some great music. And while Nipperkin isn't a full-on listening bar, it is definitely inspired by them, with a heavy focus on Japanese flavors and vinyl records. In true Japanese fashion, they place a heavy emphasis on seasonality, but with a bit more advanced technique than you typically find in most Japanese bars. And the results are glorious, with cocktails that do exceptionally well to highlight the featured ingredients. All the stalwarts of Japanese flavors are there. Fuji apples, umeshu, wasabi, hojicha, you name it. They've turned it into a cocktail with incredible depth of flavor. This is a relatively new opening, so it hasn't had a lot of time to rack up major awards, but I can very easily see that changing in the years to come. I travel solo a lot, and one thing I am not a fan of is places in the hospitality industry that make it difficult for solo guests to enjoy themselves. This isn't as big of an issue in bars as it is in restaurants, but it does happen, especially in hotel bars. Not having a bar to sit at, not my favorite, but that is not even remotely an issue at Kwant. They love solo guests, going so far as to have a dedicated seat at their amazing bar strictly for solos to sit directly next to the bar station. My dream seat. A solo guest is obviously a lot more locked into the vibes of the bar, the drinks, and the bar staff because they don't have like a date or, friends to distract them. And Kwant fully understands that and embraces it. Watching bartenders at the top of their craft is always an amazing show, and the bartenders at Kwant are excellent showmen. Delicious cocktails, amazing bartenders, and no one sitting next to me invading my personal space? I couldn't imagine a more perfect bar. Few bars have had as much of an impact on the industry as Tayer and Elementary. A dual concept bar, as the name would suggest, Elementary in the front is a more casual space serving elevated riffs on classics, mostly on tap. Things like a Yuzu Gimlet, Jasmine Mai Tai, Bergamot Margarita. Simple twists with flawless execution. In the back is Tayer, a bit more of an elevated cocktail experience and where they showcase one of the greatest innovations in recent years, the hexagonal modular bar that they designed themselves. They have rethought the entire bar setup to be 100% interchangeable based on the bartender's preferences, using a series of movable hexagons to cater the setup to however the user prefers. It is the coolest shit ever, and I want one so badly. I freaking love hexagons, dude. The innovation keeps going in the cocktail menu, using the whole gamut of advanced techniques to take seasonal ingredients and turn them into delicious drinks that are wholly unique, in contrast to the also incredible drinks in the front bar. Much like the decor of the room, the presentation of the drinks is super minimal, which is totally fine when you're executing flavors this well. Like I said before, if you want to do minimalism, you have to be on point with your flavors and service, and Tayer does it impeccably. They've been in the global top 10 for 5 years straight, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. An institution, and an absolute must-visit when in London. I often talk about the OG cocktail bars when I travel to new cities. The bars that really sparked the beginning of the cocktail revolution in the places they call home. That's pretty much impossible to do in London since the bars that invented some of the most famous cocktails on the planet are still around today. But if you want to talk about the modern OGs, you have to talk about Nightjar. If Tayer is the king of minimalism, Nightjar is the king of maximalism. Super extravagant flavors using out-of-the-ordinary ingredients and beautiful, whimsical, over-the-top presentations. A lot of their menu takes major inspiration from classic cocktails, but don't be fooled. Saying these cocktails are riffs on classics is like saying a chicken is a riff on a T-Rex. Sure, they share the same DNA, but they are wildly different in every possible way. Nightjar has had a couple of head bartender changes over the decade plus it's been open, but the core ideas remain the same. Live music, great vibes, and amazing, whimsical, wonderful cocktails. Sticking to the topic of OGs and London's modern cocktail boom, Happiness Forgets is one of the original neighborhood cocktail bars. No fuss, no frills, just friendly bartenders making delicious drinks in a super cozy atmosphere. The type of bar you wish you had right around the corner and could visit multiple times per week. Seed Library is another addition to the Mr. Lion empire of bars in London. And while Lyaness is considered the jewel of the crown, I kinda think I prefer the Seed Library. It's got all the great hallmarks of a Lion bar. Interesting venue, relaxing atmosphere, friendly, knowledgeable bartenders who are more than willing to nerd out with you about cocktails while also cranking out hundreds of drinks an hour. But this one feels different. It's a massive bar, but it gives off the vibe of a local spot, like a mix of 70s lounge and living room rolled into one. The type of place you go for a date or for a solo drink after work. and the drinks are just so freaking good. It's pretty much a guarantee that if you look at a Lion menu, you're going to see some weird shit that you don't typically see in cocktails, like buttered toast or beef jerky, but it is going to be delicious every time. There's a reason Mr. Lion has been able to open numerous bars all around the world. He has a formula for creating a great bar without feeling formulaic at all, and it just works so well every time. Production kitchen by day, cocktail bar by night. Warehaus is an outpost of a bar with shapes for a name, meant to handle the intense production needed for that bar's amazing beverage program. They use the space mainly for ice making and cocktail bottling, but figured at night they might as well make some drinks as well, because why not? The drinks they make are delicious, and some of the most affordable in the city, which I am very much appreciating at this point. Three Sheets is another one of London's incredible neighborhood joints that has racked up a number of accolades over the years, and deservedly so. It's cozy, inviting, not really breaking any boundaries, but doing simple stuff extraordinarily well. There are so many good neighborhoods in London with so many good neighborhood bars, and Three Sheets is no exception. Simple, friendly, delicious. This is definitely one of the most talked about bars in London. A bar with shapes for a name. Yes, that is the name of the bar. It's probably the dumbest name for a bar I have ever heard, and I absolutely fucking love it. We need more stupid bar names. Inspired by the Bauhaus art movement, which is heavily focused on minimalist industrialism. Yet another bar with an extremely minimalist approach, as is a major trend these days, and they do it so well. Clean, simple presentation that always blends perfectly with the pastel colors and geometric shapes of their branding. And, as expected, incredible flavors. This feels like a technique showcase as much as it is an art one, with each cocktail highlighting a number of forward-thinking techniques that Shapes proudly highlights. Another thing that stands out about this bar is that they are one of the very few bars in London that is open until 4 a.m. every single night, because that is exactly what I need right now. More time for drinking. Like I wasn't doing that enough already. Kioku is a very similar bar to Nipperkin, which we visited earlier in the video. Heavily inspired by Japanese listening bars with a focus on Japanese ingredients and seasonality. And it makes sense because they're both owned and operated by the same restaurant group. Kioku has one of Europe's largest sake collections, but the cocktails are just as much of a highlight, with the same incredible depth of technique and flavor that you see at Nipperkin. Beautiful Japanese-inspired cocktails and presentation with a hyper-focus on seasonality in a bar that feels like it's someone's living room. Both incredible bars, but with Kioku leaning a bit heavier into the sake side of things. And they're attached to an incredible Japanese restaurant with a totally different drinks menu that is equally as delicious and interesting. This Japanese listening bar trend is something I am completely on board with because it has yet to steer me wrong. Full disclosure here, as I was making this video, Silverleaf announced it would be closing its doors, which fucking sucks because this was easily one of the best bar experiences I had in London. So instead of going back and wasting my time re-editing this whole part of the video, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to go on a little rant. Now, I don't know the circumstances of why Silverleaf is closing, but one thing I do know is this. If you're the type of person to gatekeep an incredible bar or restaurant, you are part of the problem. Anyone who posts about an incredible drink or meal they had on social media and then refuses to tell people where they can have that same experience is the biggest piece of shit imaginable. Do you know how hard this business is? Do you want your favorite place to disappear? Do yourself a favor and tell as many people as you know as often as you can in order to help that business survive. Word of mouth is everything in this business, and if you gatekeep a spot because you don't want it to be too busy, then you do not deserve to go outside. Support small businesses. Granted, this wasn't exactly a small business, but my point still stands. I still have more video to fill, so I'm gonna keep going. Dogs should not have Instagram accounts. Yeah, I said it. Look, if I see a photo of a dog, I'm gonna like the photo, but the dog does not need his own account. I know they ain't posting those photos themselves, they don't have any thumbs. If you're the type of person to create an account for your dog, just post those photos on your personal account. The dog is clearly your entire personality anyways, so just own it. Your dog is not more special than the other dogs. They're all good dogs, they don't need their own accounts. Case closed. It's time for another modern minimalist bar, but this one comes with an Indian twist. Soma is a Sanskrit word that means to distill and extract, and that sounds like a cocktail thing to me. They're taking classic cocktails like the espresso martini, margarita, Negroni, giving them a minimalist, futuristic twist, and injecting them with Indian flavors to create some very tasty treats. This is the only bar during my entire time in London where I actually had to wait in line to get in, and I am really glad I did. If you were to ask all the bartenders in London what their favorite bar in the city is, there is a very good chance that they will say Satan's Whiskers. The neighborhood bar to end all neighborhood bars, Satan's Whiskers is the gold standard when it comes to creating an inviting atmosphere that is designed for locals but attracts people from around the world. Simple, classic cocktails, not trying to reinvent the wheel, just doing all the little things with expert precision to create a complete package when it comes to a cocktail program. A new menu every single day, so there's always something new to try, but those cocktails are always going to be timeless drinks that you can probably get anywhere. However, they will not be as expertly made as they are at Satan's Whiskers. Calling it the gold standard was not hyperbole. I think every bar on the planet aspires to have the cult-like following that Satan's Whiskers has so rightfully earned. Right around the corner from Satan's Whiskers is another incredible bar, Coupette, heavily inspired by French bistros and one of the largest Calvados collections I've ever seen. They change their menu often, but there was a chocolate and red wine cocktail that has remained on the menu since day one, and I totally see why. Undeniably delicious. This is another spot that is most certainly worthy of visiting. There's too many, man. There are too many bars. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how anyone survives in this city. If I lived here, I would be overwhelmed. I'm already overwhelmed. I am a broken man, filled with anxiety, a pit of despair. I couldn't do it. I lost. This is my cross to bear. And I didn't even get to half the bars I had on my list. Swift, Termini, Side Hustle, Kalu Calais, Mr. Fogg's, Waltz Bar that just opened up as well. And don't even get me started on all the pubs that definitely also deserve to be on this list. That's it. I tap. I'm done. You win, London. You win.
I am never going to financially recover from this.